Hey, MathKook here. This video contains one of many examples in my Algebra 2 library. The rest of those examples, along with hundreds of other videos, are only available at mathkook.com. Let's MathKook it up. This example says solve the inequality x squared minus 25 all over x plus 3 squared is greater than or equal to 0. So we have a rational inequality here. How do we solve? So let's go ahead and look at our steps. Number one, isolate the expression with 0 on the other side of the inequality. So if a fraction is combined to one fraction. So in this case, both of those have already happened. We have one fraction here, and 0 is on the other side of the inequality. So we are good there. Let's go on to step number 2. So step number 2 says factor. So the bottom is already factored for us, but the top is not. Can we factor the top? Yes, we can. That is the difference of two squares. So this becomes x minus 5 times x plus 5. That's all over x plus 3 squared. All right, so now the top and the bottom are factored. Step number 3, we're going to solve for the critical values. And remember that the critical values are the x values that make the top equal to 0 or the bottom equal to 0. So let's go ahead and do that. So we have factors on top, so we're going to have an x minus 5 and an x plus 5. And we're going to set those both equal to 0. So x minus 5 equals 0. We're going to add the 5 over. So x equals 5, and then also x plus 5 equals 0. We'll subtract the 5 over, so x equals negative 5. So those are two of our critical values, 5 and negative 5. Now we'll set the bottom equal to 0. So we're going to set the x plus 3 here. Squared equals to 0. Now the squared really doesn't matter because we're going to, if you take the square root of both sides, we'll do that. What happens is that you just get x plus 3 equals 0. You subtract 3, so x equals negative 3. So that is our third critical value. So we have three different critical values in this one. All right, step 4. Mark critical values on a number line. Then plug in a value in each interval into f of x and see if it's positive or negative. So let's go ahead and bring up our number line here. So we're going to place, going from left to right, negative 5, negative 3, and 5 on our number line. So negative 5, negative 3, and 5 is over here somewhere. Okay. Next, we want to mark on a t-chart our x values that we're going to plug in. So here's our t-chart here. So we're going to plug in the values, one value of x in each of the intervals. So in this case, this interval, negative infinity to negative 5 is 1, negative 5 to negative 3, negative 3 to 5, and then 5 to infinity. So what's a value that we can plug in for this interval? So negative 6 is a good value. In this interval, negative 4 is a good value. In this interval, 0 is a good value. 0 is always a good value to plug in. And then from 5 to infinity, 6 is a good value to plug in. So let's go ahead and bring those values here in our chart. So let's plug those in. Now we're going to plug in negative 6 into this one here. Actually, you know what? I'm going to plug into this one. You could plug into either one, but I kind of like this one actually. So negative 6 squared is 36 minus 25. So that's a positive number up top. So I'll write positive over. And then on the bottom, we have x plus 3 squared. So here's a little trick. Because it's always squared, this guy here is guaranteed to be positive. So it'll always be positive on the bottom. So then that means this will be positive. Positive over positive is positive. Negative 4. So negative 4 squared is 16 minus 25. That's a negative number up top. Over. And then remember we said, no matter what you plug in here, it's going to be positive because we're squaring it. Okay, so negative over a positive is negative. Plug in 0. 0 minus 25, that's definitely a negative number. Over, and then the bottom will become positive because 3 squared is positive. All right, so we also have a negative number there. And then lastly, we're going to plug in 6. That's 36 when you square it, minus 25, that's positive. So we'll have a positive over, and then on the bottom, plug in 6. You get 6 plus 3 is 9 squared. So that's, again, it's always going to be positive on the bottom. A positive over a positive is positive. All right, let's put our signs here on our number line. So we have a positive here, a negative in the next one, a negative in the next one there, and then lastly we have a positive in the last one. All right, so now we want to go to step 5, determine which intervals satisfy the inequality. So we want this fraction here to be greater than or equal to 0. What does that mean? So greater than or equal means positive. So we want it to be positive. So the two intervals that are going to satisfy this inequality are this one here and this one here. So I'll go ahead and put a check mark in each of those intervals. So those intervals are going to satisfy our inequality. So this one is negative infinity to negative 5. So I'll write that here, negative infinity to negative 5. And then we don't know if it's a parentheses or bracket, so I'm going to leave that for now. And then union with, again, 5 to infinity. All right, and then as a reminder, around infinity is always parentheses. So let's check out the negative 5 and see if there's a parentheses or a bracket. So to do so, we're going to plug in negative 5 here. If we plug in negative 5, we will get 25, because negative 5 squared is 25, minus 25, which is 0. 0 over anything is 0. Now, is 0 greater than or equal to 0? Yes, it is. So negative 5 satisfies the inequality, which means we are going to include it in our answer. So if we include it, that means we're going to put a bracket around it. Let's try 5 now. So we plug in 5. 5 squared is 25, minus 25 is 0. 0 over any number is going to be 0. So is 0 greater than or equal to 0? Yes, it is. Therefore, 5 satisfies this inequality. So we're going to put a bracket around 5. All right, so here is our answer. These two intervals here satisfy our original inequality here. Hey Kook, if you found this video helpful, hit that like button, subscribe, and drop a comment. For unlimited access to all of my Algebra 2 videos, visit mathkook.com. Thanks for watching.